లభ్యమవుతుంది.
That which arises from this instrument, how can it be for the instrument?
కనుక దీనిని ఎవరికి అర్పితమో వారికే దీన్ని అర్పితం చేయాలి.
Therefore, love must be offered only to the one who is the eligible recipient.
కనుక మన నిర్మలమైన నిశ్చలమైన నిస్వార్థమైనటువంటి ప్రేమతత్వాన్ని భగవంతుని వైపు మరల్చాలి.
Therefore, we have to direct our pure, unwavering, selfless love toward God.
ఇది ఏ భక్తి యొక్క ప్రమాణం.
This is the proof of true devotion.
ఇది భక్తి యొక్క స్వరూపము.
This alone is the true form of devotion.
ఈ పవిత్రమైనటువంటి భక్తి తత్వాన్ని ఈనాడు అనేక రకములుగా వికారమును పరిచి ఆకారమునే తాను ధరిస్తున్నాడు.
Today, such pure devotion is being distorted in various ways, giving importance to form.
ధర్మి అనేటువంటి తత్వాన్ని మనం చక్కగా గుర్తించాలి.
We should understand the nature of dharmi clearly.
ఈ ధర్మి అనేటువంటి అణుస్వరూపమే.
The true form of dharmi is at the atomic level.
ఈ దేహమును ధరించినటువంటిది కాబట్టి దీనికి ఒక దేహము.
As it has the vesture of the body, it is deha.
ధర్మస్వరూపమైనటువంటిది దేహము.
Body is the very form of dharma.
అయితే ఈ దేహము లోపల మూడు రకములైనటువంటి యొక్క అంశములు ఉంటున్నాయి.
3 types of fundamental elements exist within the body.
దీనినే కరణములు అన్నారు.
These are known as the instruments, karanas.
త్రికరణములు
3 karanas, the 3 instruments.
అనగా మనస్సు, వాక్కు, కాయను అనగా హస్తం.
They are mind, thought, speech, word, and body, deed.
ఈ మూడింటిని మనం పరిశుద్ధం చేసినప్పుడు మనం పవిత్రమైన మానవులుగా రూపొందుతాం.
When we purify these 3, we will become pure and sacred.
కనుకనే ఎట్టి మానవునికైనా కూడాను ఆధ్యాత్మికం అత్యవసరమే.
Hence, spirituality is very much needed for every person.
వాడు నాస్తికుడు కానీ ఆస్తికుడు కానీ ఆస్తికుడు కానీ ఆస్తిక నాస్తికుడు కానీ
Whether one is an atheist, atheist, atheistic atheist, or
వాడు భోగి కానీ యోగి కానీ జోగి కానీ బైరాగ్ కానీ
one who revels in worldly pleasures, a yogi, or a renunciate.
అందరికి కూడా భక్తి అత్యవసరమే.
Devotion is essential for everyone.
వానికి అర్థం తెలియకోకుండా నేను భక్తుడు కాదనుకుంటున్నాడు కానీ ఇది కేవలం వాని భ్రమ.
Without any understanding, he asserts that he is not a devotee. This is nothing but his delusion.
ఆధ్యాత్మికమైనటువంటిది ఉండినప్పుడే మనకు చిత్తశుద్ధి కలుగుతుండాలి.
Only when one is spiritual, one attains purity of the mind.
ఆ చిత్తశుద్ధియే మొదటి కారణం పవిత్రమవుతుంది.
That purity of mind becomes the first sacred instrument.
ఇప్పటికి ఆధ్యాత్మిక అత్యవసరము.
For this, spirituality is essential.
రెండవది నైతికము.
The second one is ethical behavior or morality.
ఈ నైతికమైనటువంటిది వాక్ శుద్ధి చేస్తుండాలి.
This morality purifies speech.
కనుకనే వాక్ శుద్ధి కావించడానికి నైతికం చాలా అవసరము.
Hence, morality is very essential for attaining purity in speech.
ఇక మూడవది ధార్మికము.
And the third one is righteousness or right conduct.
ధార్మికముగా హస్తముతో దానం చేయటం అనేది ఈ హస్తం పవిత్రమవుతుంది.
Righteousness means that by giving charity with the hand itself becomes sacred.
కనుకనే ఈ మూడు కరణములను కూడా పవిత్రం చేయడానికి ఆధ్యాత్మికము, నైతికము, ధార్మికము ఈ మూడు కూడా చాలా పరిశుద్ధం కావాలి.
Therefore, to purify all these 3 instruments, spirituality, morality, and righteousness must be extremely pure.
అప్పుడే త్రికరణ శుద్ధి ఏర్పడుతుంది.
Only then can triple purity be achieved.
శుద్ధి కలిగినటువంటి వాడే దైవత్వాన్ని పొందగలుగుతాడు.
Only the one who has triple purity can realize divinity.
ఈ కరణములో ఏ కరణం కొంచెం మాలిన్యమైనప్పటికీ దైవత్వాన్ని ఏమాత్రం కూడా పొందలేడు.
If there is even the slightest impurity in any of the 3 instruments, divinity cannot be attained.
పాత్రలోకి నీరు కారిపోవాలంటే 10 పింతులు ఉండవలసినక్కర్లేదు, ఒక్క చిల్లు ఉంటే చాలు.
For the water to leak out of the pot, it is not necessary to have 10 holes. Just 1 hole is enough.
మీరు పిల్లలుగా ఉంటున్నారు, చదువుతున్నారు.
Children, You are studying here.
కానీ అన్ని సబ్జెక్టులో కూడా మంచి మార్క్స్ వచ్చినాయి.
You may score well in most subjects.
ఒక్క సబ్జెక్ట్ లో మీకు ఏమైనా తక్కువ మార్క్స్ వస్తే నీ ఫెయిల్ అయిపోయినట్టే.
But if you get low scores even in one subject, you will still fail.
అదే విధంగానే ఈ త్రికరణము లోపల ఏ కరణం కొంచెం అశుద్ధంగా ఉండినప్పటికీ అన్నింటిలో కూడా అశుద్ధమే ఏర్పడుతుంది.
In the same way, if there is the slightest impurity even in one of the three instruments, impurity will be seen in everything.
ప్రతి మానవుడు కూడాను త్రికరణ శుద్ధి నిమిత్తమై ఆధ్యాత్మికము, నైతికము, ధార్మికము ఈ మూడింటిని మనం పెంచుకోవాలి.
Therefore, every person should cultivate spirituality, morality, and righteousness for the purification of thought, word, and deed.
లేకుంటే మనము ఏమాత్రము వ్యత్యాసం లేదు.
Otherwise, there is no difference at all between us and an animal.
ఇక ద్విపాద పశువు, అది చతుర్పాద పశువు.
Just that you are two-legged animal and the animal is four-legged.
కనుకనే మనకు పశువుకు సంబంధం ఏమాత్రము భేదం లేకుండా ఉంటాది.
That is why there is absolutely no difference between us and animals.
నీవు మానవుడనేటువంటి ఒక తత్వాన్ని నీవు గుర్తించి ఈయన సార్థకంగా గావించుకోవాలన్నా ఈ ఆధ్యాత్మికము, నైతికము, ధార్మికము ఈ మూడింటిని మనము అలవర్చుకోవాలి.
To truly recognize and fulfill the true essence of being human, you must cultivate spirituality, morality, and righteousness.
జంతువునాం నరజన్మ దుర్లభం.
Among all living beings, human birth is difficult to attain.
ఎంత పవిత్రమైనటువంటిది నరజన్మం.
How sacred is human birth?
ఇలాంటి నరజన్మాన్ని ఈనాడు కేవలం వానర జన్మంగా కూడా మార్చుకోకుండా రాక్షస జన్మంగా మార్చుకుంటున్నాం.
Today, we are not only changing human birth into that of a monkey, but also into that of a demon.
ఓ వానరులు కూడా మనకు హాస్యం కావిస్తున్నాడు.
Even monkeys make fun of us, saying,
ఓ పిచ్చివాడా, నీవు మానవుడై పుట్టి కూడాను మాధవుణ్ణి మర్చిపోతున్నావే.
"Oh madman, being blessed with human birth, yet you are forgetting Madhava, God."
నేను వానరుడై పుట్టి కూడాను రామచింతన నేను చేస్తున్నాను.
Although born a monkey, here refers to Hanuman, I am still contemplating the sacred name of Sri Rama.
రామకార్యంలో నేను పాల్గొంటున్నాను.
And I am engaged in the work of Rama, God.
నా రోమరోమము రామనామంతో నిండి ఉంటున్నది.
Each strand of my hair is reverberating with the name of Rama.
నేనే మేలంటుంది ఆ కోతి.
So, the monkey claims it is better than you.
ఈనాడు మానవుడు ఇన్ని చదువులు చదివి
Today, even after so much education,
కానీ మానవునికి శాంతి అనేది చాలా దూరంగా ఉంటున్నది.
peace remains very distant from man.
కారణం ఏమిటి?
What is the reason?
మితిమీరిన కోరికలతో మతి జరుపుకుంటున్నాడు.
With excessive desires, he is spoiling his mind.
ఒక్క కోరికనే మనకు ఉండవలసినటువంటి
We should have only one desire.
ఆ దైవ కోరిక ఒక్కటి ఉంటే సర్వ కోరికలు మనకు నెరవేరుతాయి.
If we hold on to that one desire for the divine, all other desires will be fulfilled.
What a wonderful reminder from Swami on the importance of devotion in developing inner purity. So now, taking lead from Swami, we will go into a little deeper into understanding what this really means. So dear brothers and sisters, our next segment is a deeply inspiring panel session aptly titled The Path of Devotion as a Means to Attain Purity. I am pleased to introduce our moderator, Sister Anuradha Venkateswaran, who will guide this discussion with our esteemed panelists, who are namely Dr. Ashok Kumar, Dr. George Bibidalis, Mr. Jirka Blazek, Dr. Sundar Iyer, and Sister Vahini Pillai. And so a little bit about our wonderful moderator for this afternoon. Sister Anuradha was born into a family that has been in Swami's fold since 1964. Sister Anu completed the Bal Vikas or Sai Spiritual Education Program in Chennai, India, and graduated from the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Anantapur campus, with a bachelor's degree in physics. After moving to the United States, she has actively been involved in all the wings of the SSSIO, and currently, Sister Anu serves as the devotional coordinator for the SSSIO USA Southeast region and conducts weekly online study circles. She is also the SSE coordinator of the Northeast Atlanta Psi Center, where she teaches Group 4 SSE students. Sharing Psi's messages and stories allows her to feel the universality of divine love through his devotees. So everyone, please join me in welcoming these distinguished panelists to the stage.
Offering my prayerful salutations at Bhagwan's divine lotus feet. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to you all. Welcome back. This afternoon we are blessed to have a panel that consists of devotees who've been active. As you can see them, they're all very active in Swami's mission for several decades for some of you. I'll start by sharing a few words about each of our panelists, and I request you to please bring up their slides as we talk through that. Very brief. It was hard to condense your bios. So I want to give you more time to speak, so this is going to be very short. Uncle Ashok Kumar to the far left is from Seattle, Washington, USA. And Uncle came to Swami in 1981 and has held several positions at a central level and regional level, including as regional president. And sitting next to Uncle Ashok is Brother Jirka Blazek from the Czech Republic. He's the chair of the media committee and the central coordinator for Zone 7. He has served in leadership roles for over 25 years at a national and zonal level. Brother George, who's no stranger to all of us, Brother George Bebedilis from Greece, who came to Swami in the 1980s. He's the director of the Institute of Sathya Education of South Europe and a member of the Scriptural Studies Committee and co-chair of the Education Committee. And I'll be honest, his bio was the hardest to condense. And on the men's side, last but not least, we have Brother Sundar Iyer. He's an alumnus of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning and has also served as faculty at the Institute. He's been blessed with many personal interactions with Swami. Notably, he served as Swami's attendant for several years and has received direct guidance from Swami. Welcome, Brother Sundar. See, there's a reason we only have one female panelist. I'll let you guess why that is. So Vahini is our young adult coordinator, international young adult coordinator. She's here from South Africa, and she has contributed to several international YA subcommittees. Welcome, Vahini. So I was just thinking, this here is an all-star panel, if I could call them that. Would you agree? This is an all-star panel. So today we heard two discourses from Swami on purity and devotion. And over the past 2 days, we've heard from several speakers. This morning, Dr. Reddy alluded to, Chittasya Shuddhaya Karmana. He talked about purity again in his address this morning. I would like to begin by giving all our panelists 2 to 3 minutes. Let's take 2 to 3 minutes to see, how do you define devotion? How do you define purity? And if you can explain this in a practical, everyday sense to our audience here. And Uncle Ashok, can we begin with you, please?
With pranams to our dear Lord Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, and pranams to everyone here. Sai Ram to all of you. When Sister Anu called me and said, would you like to be part of the panel? I said yes. Then the fear took over. She also said, it cannot be theoretical, Uncle. It has to be from the heart. What do? I first immediately opened Swami book and started reading. I need to know what I am going to say. This is my habit. I first study Swami literature, and then Swami gives me inspiration to share, and then stories come out on their own. So devotion to me is focus on Swami, listening to his words and following his injunctions. Swami places a premium on us following his injunctions. But what is focus on Swami? When I look at a picture, I start looking at it very seriously because I ask my students to do the same. And I look at the unusual features of Swami's picture, and can I remember them once I close my eyes? Can I remember them when I leave the room? That is, in my mind, is there a picture of Swami? And I was looking at this picture, and I said, this is very interesting. His hands are behind him, and he's leading with left foot. And I said, he's leading with left foot. Then the thought came, I'm in your heart. The reflection will be leading with the right foot. So Swami will lead us the right way if we bring him into our heart. And so that's one part of devotion, focusing on Swami. In terms of purity, we have heard a lot during the workshop that inner purity is very important. Swami stresses a lot about it. And so I started watching my mind a few years ago. And then for every little thing, I used to say, we have a problem. There will be only me in the room, but I'll be saying, we have a problem. And then I said, I have to stop this. This is called observing the mind. I have to stop this. And I started doing, it's okay. Then Swami tests you when you do this. I had a test just a couple of days ago coming back from India. The reason I'm saying is whatever we try to do, whatever practice we engage in has to be genuine. If it's mechanical, it's not going to work. So I've been saying for a long time now, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So as I got into the aircraft and sat down, this chief steward came and said, we have a problem. I immediately said, it's okay. He said, no, you don't understand. Your audio system is not going to work. It's not working. You can put on your headset, nothing will happen. I said, it's okay. Then he sat down. He thought I was not understanding what he was telling me. Sir, it doesn't work. It's okay. Then he said, we are very sorry. We apologize. We will give you that extra. Then I said, no, don't worry about it. Then I realized I'm not paying attention to his words. He was giving me full details of what's wrong. And I was saying, it's okay, go away. That was the approach. And that's not the way it should work. So I stopped, listened to him very carefully and said, it's okay, I'm going to sleep. I don't need to have the TV in front of me. Then he got up and left. So yesterday, Swami tested me again. We were sitting in one lounge. Very quickly, I asked my wife to go and check whether we are in the same correct place, correct gate. And it said Burbank. And we were supposed to go to Ontario, land in Ontario. And then they made the announcement. So to finish the story quickly, my mouth was saying it's okay, but my body was moving faster than I can. Thought, word, and deed. There was absolutely no connection. Then we had to change 3 trains. By the time we got into the second train, I calmed myself down and said, well, I better practice this. It's okay means it's really okay. So to me, that's what his purity is about. Watching my mind, watching my thoughts, and see, can I catch it before? Always it's post, but can I get closer to it? Sairam.
Thank you, Uncle. Thank you, Uncle. You touched upon several things there. What stood out to me is the Trikarana Shuddhi. That's something we all struggle with. Unity and purity, thought, word, and deed. Not just unity, purity also. You can have unity and want to do the wrong thing. Having unity and purity in thought, word, and deed. Brother George, you've had the mic for a bit longer. We'll go to you next.
Om Sai Ram to everyone. I'm very happy to be here after a long trip coming from Athens. And this is the second time I'm here. I'm really very happy to be in this wonderful place in the presence of Swami and in the presence of Swami in every one of you. What is devotion? We heard so much. We heard from Swami, we heard from eminent speakers today. What can I add? Something very simple, it comes into my mind. Devotion is just to think all the time of God. What more? With love, with pure love, as Swami said. But there is one question that arises that maybe I can connect with this logo that we have, this wonderful way to write 100. Here we have the God with form, and then the formless, what it was mentioned by Dr. Ed in the morning. So the question arises, how can you think about God? With a form or formless? And this takes us to the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where it starts with this question of Arjuna to Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna already has instructed Arjuna in both ways, that God is beyond form, but also he's manifested in front of him with his divine form. So now Arjuna stands in front of Sri Krishna, wondered. And the question with which this chapter starts, and this chapter is very relevant to our discussion because this is Bhakti Yoga. It is the chapter on Bhakti. So he asks Sri Krishna, out of these two ways that you have instructed me, the formless and the form, what is the easier? What is the safest? What can I take? And then, without complication, the answer of Sri Krishna is direct. He says, of these two ways, the easiest, the safest, is to love God with form, to think always of me. And this is what Swami also has taught us. He has come among us because being present with this beautiful form and the beautiful name, it is easy for us to think of God every moment. As also very nicely Sister Madhuri before said, with her story about visualization. I'm sure everybody of us is doing this all the time. So, and I think this is the best gift of the avatar. The avatar is coming among us. The formless takes form in order to make it easy for people to approach the divine through this form. We are so blessed that we have met Swami, and we are all here to celebrate 100 years from the day that he decided to come among us. And I think the best gift, the best blessing of the form is that we have the opportunity to think always of him, to speak about him, to be united in his name, and this is the easiest way to think all the time of God. So this is devotion. As I think also brother said, think all the time of Swami. And I will quote also one quotation that Swami many times in his divine discourses uses to say, Sarvada, Sarvakalesu, Sarvatra, Hari Chintanam. Sarvada means always. Sarvakalesu, at all times, Sarvatra, everywhere, Hari Chintanam. Think of Hari. I will say Sai Chintanam. Think of Sai. And then about purity, maybe I was more.
Please go ahead.
But I will be quick. Purity again, how to define? Very simply, I will say an act, a thought, a word are pure when there is no ego. What is the reason of impurity? The only reason of impurity is ego. If there is no ego, then everything is pure. So, and these two words also they were mentioned today that Swami uses to remind us, ahamkara and mamakara. Ahamkara is the I, mamakara mine, I and mine. We have to go beyond this. Then we are directing ourselves to purity and to take the I away. And he gives a very nice explanation of the cross. I take this because one time he asked me, you know, I come from there, from Europe. He asked me, what is your religion? Christian, I said, Swami. And then he said, what is the symbol of Christianity? Cross. And then he asked me, what is the meaning of cross? I already knew from his discourses and said, this is I, Swami, and the horizontal line is to cut the eye. Swami was very happy. You see, he gives all to these sacred symbols such an inner meaning and very practical. So this is the real meaning of cross, to cut away the eye. And in one interview, he asked, I plus I plus I plus I equals? So one Sai brother, who was very versed in Vedanta and Advaita, he said, Swami, I plus I plus I is I. And thought that Swami would be very happy. Then Swami corrected him, no, I plus I plus I equals we. So the way to go beyond I is to expand. As Brother Sundar sang today, expansion, this well-known song of Swami, expansion is my life. So I plus I plus I is we. This is the way to go beyond I, to think of others, to act for others, to do acts of service, and all the time to expand. And finally, we can reach him, and from we can reach to one. So purity is to go beyond ahamkara and mamakara from I. Thank you, Sairam.
Swami would say, for all problems in the world, there's two reasons. Raga, dvesha, attachment and anger. So you alluded to that. Yesterday, Sister Shruti was our first speaker, and she talked about the journey from I to we to I. You may have been en route at that time, that's it. Oh, you on the plane? All right. We have heard from two brothers. It's only right that we go to our young sister here. Vahini, what are your thoughts? So we are talking about how do you define devotion and purity?
Thank you, Sister Anu. Loving Sairam, brothers and sisters. I think I'm going to put a little twist and spin. Since everyone is defining devotion and purity, I will rather just share how I relate to the two principles. And for me, devotion, I spoke to Sister Anu when we were given this panel, and the three words that come to mind for me is love, faith, and surrender. And for me, it's love for God, and Dr. Reddy mentioned that this morning. It's that yearning, that intense yearning, that want, that need for God or the divine presence, whoever you believe in, even a higher presence in your life, but to have that love in your life, that divine love. So that was number one. Number two is faith, and there are nine forms of devotion. For me, I think my number one connecting form would be Sakyam, which is friendship. So I see Swami as my best friend. I take him wherever I go. I speak to him. I write letters to him. And so this is the way I have or developed my faith, my trust in God, is making him my friend. And the last is surrender, and I'd like to share a story here. Is the story, and it reminded me when Uncle George spoke about Lord Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita, but there is a short story that I learnt in My Dear Students, and it goes like this. So Lord Krishna was once at the well with Gopikas, and the Gopikas were trying to fetch a pail of water from the well. And they wanted to put these pots, heavy pots of water on their heads, and make their way back to their destination. And Lord Krishna was present witnessing this, and the Gopikas were trying to get his attention to see if he would help them to put these pots, heavy pots of water on their heads. And Lord Krishna ignored them and disappeared. So anyways, the Gopikas picked up these heavy pots of water, put it on their heads, and made their way to their destination. So they arrived to where they needed to be, and then they put the pots of water down. As they're trying to put it down on the ground, Lord Krishna appears, and he starts to help the Gopikas to put these heavy pots of water on the ground. And this baffled them even more, because they never asked for his help, but they were seeking help when they wanted to put it up onto their heads. But now when they didn't need his help, he came and he appeared, and he helped them to put these heavy pots of water on the ground. And so they asked, "My Lord, when we asked you for help, you didn't come, you did not appear. But now when we didn't need your help, you appeared. Why is that?" And Lord Krishna said, I'm here to reduce your burdens and not increase them. And I think for me, that has been so potent in my life. In the moment of life, we don't understand, but in hindsight, we understand Swami's will, his timing, and that everything happens for your highest good. So surrender has been really important in my devotional journey. And when it comes to purity, lastly, I liken it to the lotus flower. And I think this is quite important for the young adults because we learn about this through the Sri Sathya Sai Sadhana of Love program for Sai young adults and the 4 steps. So self-confidence, self-satisfaction, self-sacrifice, and self-realization. But the self-satisfaction is the lotus. And when you look at purity, it's a lotus flower that's in muddy water, but is never tainted, never dirty. And so for young adults, we're in the world, but we should not let the world be in us. There's so many influences on social media, within family, peer pressure. There's a lot that's going around in the world. But how do we remain grounded? How do we remain pure in our love for God, our devotion? So I liken myself, or liken purity of devotion to the lotus flower, and that we should always strive for that ideal.
Wow. How do you respond to that? Beautiful, beautiful examples. Thank you. We've heard from 3 panelists. Brother Yirka, would you like to go next? And if you want to use an example, that's fine too. It doesn't have to be a definition.
Thank you, Sairam. Dear Swami, dear brothers and sisters. When Anu called me a few weeks ago and she said, are you interested in a devotional panel? I said, oh, very interested. Finally, I will learn something about devotion. She said, no, to speak. I said, oh. But then I thought, maybe I feel I'm not the person to speak about devotion, but I know someone who knows. So I went to the satyasai.org, downloaded 7 discourses on devotion, and decided I will prepare. I put them on my Kindle, and then I had some time. I decided now I am going to study and prepare. And I click the first discourse, and nothing's happening. I think, okay, this one's broken. So one by one, try 7, none of them open, just nothing happens. I'm thinking, oh, Kindle broken, I need to restart. And I took it in the other hand, and with my thumb, accidentally, I pressed another book I had at the bottom. It opened. So I thought, oh, great. I look at the book, it's a Nisargadatta Maharaj. I'm thinking, okay, this is not going to help with devotion. But the Kindle is not broken, but Swami is telling me, I don't want you to repeat what is in the discourses. So all I can do is to share my personal approach that it reflects my understanding through the incident that Swami has taught me, and that I can share if we have time. But the principle is very simple. And in the West, we call it, don't judge the book by the cover. But what does it mean? This is a principle in this particular sense when relating to other people. And it means, let's not be concerned with whether they're tall, short, or young, old. Even let's not be concerned with whether they're behaving nicely and praising us, or whether they're telling something not so nice about us or about what we did. Let us not be worried about that, because we know that deep inside each of these books, each of these people we interact with, is pure love, is pure divine light. So if we cannot judge the book by the cover, not focus on the form, on the behavior, on the character, but focus on the center, where there's divine love, where we can visualize Sai, we can visualize pure light, we can visualize pure love. This is devotion for me. And then I'm sitting here, it's easy to speak. Sometimes, especially with some people, not so easy to put in practice. Doubts come, what to do. with doubts. Sometimes even negative thoughts come about the other people or situations. What to do in these situations. This one is easy. Look behind me. We have an opportunity to put all of these doubts and thoughts to his feet and ask him, please take care. Let me go back to focusing on the divine light inside and take care of the doubts, as he has invited us on multiple occasions to give them all to him. Sai Ram, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Yerka. Last but not the least, Brother Sundar. And then maybe we'll begin with you on the next section. Please go ahead.
Sai Ram to all of you. The term purity and devotion, as we all know it, cannot be separated. There is an act without devotion, without purity cannot be called devotion, and vice versa. It's like trying to separate Shiva and Shakti, Purusha and Prakriti, if you will. The creator and the creation cannot be separated. And so it is with this concept of devotion and purity. To me, devotion is defined, the way I practice it every day, is dedicating everything that I have at my disposal to the task at hand. All my resources, my time, my talent, and whatever I have to complete a task, when I'm able to dedicate it fully, and by resources I mean my mind, my thought, my words are in that direction, my deed, so we are aligned in thought, word, and deed, everything is dedicated to the task, then it becomes a task filled with devotion. Take a look at this church, this beautiful, beautiful Premanaliyam, which this is my first time here, and it gives me goosebumps. The energy is so amazing. This is the manifestation of devotees bringing their vision into fruition. Had they not dedicated their vision, their time, and their resources to this, this would not have happened. So dedication to any task, and Bhagavan just said a few minutes ago in the discourse, focus on the small. The secret of the sea is understood by meditation upon the dewdrop, Khalil Gibran said, and Swami said the same thing. By focusing on the atom, you understand the microcosm, the macrocosm. And what is the atom? The task at hand. It could be cutting vegetables, it could be volunteers helping with parking, it could be somebody just outside helping you, ushering you, somebody at the kitchen. Every little task, you dedicate everything to it. That becomes devotion, worthy of offering. Purity, to me, is tireless striving towards excellence in that task. You not only dedicate your time, your resources, but you continue to do it again and again, improving every time, wondering, can I make this offering a little better? And aim for the excellence. Both can never, there is no end to both. And in attempting to bring excellence into your task, in attempting to dedicate every possible resources at your hand, every single act of ours becomes worthy of offering. Every moment then we stay connected with God. And then God will say, he is my devotee. Because as Brother George said, Bhagavad Gita, Santushtaha satatam yogi, yatatma dhrida nishchayaha, mayo arpita mano buddhir, mahi arpita mano buddhir. He who dedicates his time, his mind, not time, his mind and his buddhi to me, Yomad bhaktaha same priyaha. He is my greatest devotee. How do we dedicate our mind and thoughts to him? He is not separate from the task in front of you because he is omnipresent. And therefore, bringing in excellence into our action and dedicating everything we have at that moment. If it's a person in front of us, if it is a baby crying in the crib, or if it is a task at work, if it is a difficult boss I have to meet, then bring in your very best and watch God reveal himself. Sai Ram.
Beautiful. What I took away from that is Sarva Karma Bhagavat Pritirtham, as Swami would say, right? Whatever you do, offer it to God. So if you believe you're offering something to God, you won't do anything bad. You won't have an impure thought. You won't say a hurtful word. So that's something I took away. So we've established certain concepts now of what each of these panelists believe is a definition of devotion or purity. Now, Brother Sundar, you have spent many years with Swami, literally with Swami in his room. I'm sure there are lessons Swami taught you. Can you share, were there any personal experiences where Swami addressed this purity or devotion or a combination of those and how they work together with each other?
Well, there is one that certainly comes to my mind. And though it was, Swami taught me in another context, but the experience is so profound that it can be applied in all our lives at any point. And I think Swami gives us experiences not to benefit only one or two, but he gives us so that we become instruments to just pass it on. So please don't leave this hall saying Sundar Iyer was lucky, because then you would have missed the point. It is a lesson for all of us. And this is simply an empty instrument, like a flute he picked up and played his tune so that we can all benefit from it. There was a time when I was in Swami's room and my father was in Haryana, a distant village in India, and he was attacked by a few people, by robbers, and he was hurt, and his money was stolen and so on. So on the one hand, I felt very helpless not being able to be there for him, but he was okay. But on the other hand, I was thinking, my father is such a noble man. He was very devoted in whatever he did. Why would bad things happen to good people? That was my question. So we are looking for purity, right? I thought he was a pure soul. And why would something impure like this, why would an act like this happen to him? And so I wrote a letter to Swami. And you might wonder, wait a minute, you just said you were in his room, why do you write letters? But that's the beauty of Swami. You can be very close to him, and yet you can be very, very, very distant. So though we were there, none of us had the opportunity or the right to just go and say, excuse me, Swami, I have a question to ask. We couldn't do that. His space was so divine that nobody ever disturbed that space. You speak to him when he speaks to you. You don't initiate a conversation. And therefore, I wrote this letter, kept it in my pocket, wondering if I should give this to Swami. What will Swami think? I don't want to miss this opportunity of being with him. Am I being too smart enough to ask these kind of profound questions? Because the question I asked was, Swami, it is not about my father, but I want to ask this question, why do bad things happen to good people? Then what do you do then? What is the point of doing good? Swami finished his dinner and he was going up. As he was passing by, the room is very small. So the way to a staircase up, there's very small room. So I was just standing and he has to simply brush past me to go in. And so as he brushed past, he saw this little envelope peeping out. He didn't ask me what it is. He just picked it up and went up. And I was not given a choice to even think whether I should give him or not. I was like, oh my gosh, Swami took the letter. Later in the night, I saw the letter was torn and put in the trash. So I knew Swami had read it. But there was no response from Swami that night, or the night after, or the day after, or the week after. And I thought, maybe I should have written it in simpler English. I was very new to Baba, and I'll share it with you maybe tomorrow when I get a chance. I was very new to him. I had don't know who he was. He spoke to me in Telugu and Tamil, so I thought maybe he didn't understand the English. Maybe he read something and he didn't get back to me. How come there's no reaction to that letter? But then God responds in such beautiful ways. I had forgotten about it. And now I'm able to, piece the thread, but it was forgotten, and almost 2 weeks later, I was one day in the afternoon, Swami had finished his lunch and gone, the guests had finished their lunch and gone, and I had to clean the vessels, and I was gently taking it all and putting it in the sink and washing them one at a time. And we have to be extremely mindful and quiet when you're in Swami's presence, because he was upstairs, and it's stone walls, so every single sound resounds, so I was very careful. And I had come to the last couple of pieces of vessels in the sink when I was so focused on doing it gently, little did I realize that the master had walked up right behind me. He was supposed to be having a nap. He was not supposed to be down there. So the last thing I expected was Swami. But then I heard this voice, hey. That was his endearing way of calling us, hey, you know. So I said, hey. And I looked back and I froze because right behind me was Swami. He was looking into the sink over my shoulder. And he looked at that one glass that was remaining, which had, you know, when you wash vessels, you had leftovers. They get poured into here and there. And so the last glass was full of the leftovers. And Swami said, chi, em tra meer anda tintunaru, galeesga. You know, saying, what kind of rubbish you all eat, just jokingly. And he said, in the gullies, you know, there's so much dirt in this glass. How do we get this glass? How do we get the dirt out of the glass? And he goes and he pushes me aside, walks to the tap, and he opens the tap. And he opens the tap and the water starts pouring into the glass. He says, manchidi chendi, manchidi chendi, manchidi chendi, and do good, do good, do good. And he opened the tap. And then the dirt inside the glass started coming out. And he looked at me and he said, see, when you do good, all your fears, your delusions will start coming out. Me bhayamu, brantulu anta bayatiki vastayi. Adi chusi meer em chestaru, appestaru. He says, and he was like a 5-year-old telling this exciting story, but it was beautiful. He said, because you see this dirt coming out, what do? You stop it and you close the tap. Ippudu chudandi. Emundi? It is good and bad, mixed confusion. Anta confusion. Em cheyali appudu? What do? Manchidi chendi, do good. And he kept opening the tap till it was so full of force, and the water was forcing it on the glass. Now you would realize what would have happened. All the dirt came out, and there was only now good water going in and out. Now that he was like a small child, ippudu chudu, where is bad? No bad, only good in, good out. Do good. He did like that, turned around, said, good is God, God is good is God. And he walked away. And I was just stunned, just trying to absorb the enormity of that lesson. To me, that lesson guides me every moment of every day. When we feel the impurities in our life, in our thoughts, in our words and deeds, let us not sit back and judge and sing that sad little song, Oh Daya Karo, Kripa Karo song, and enter into this favorite zone of ours. Not zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. They're the happy zones. But there is one zone, we call it the self-pity zone. Oh, poor me. I am so miserable. I'm trying my best, Swami, and I'm caught in this. That is where we stop. But instead of getting caught into the self-pity, let's open that tap. Get out and serve. Give when you need the most. Give, share, serve, do good, and all the impurities come out. Let them come out. Let them manifest as a little illness or a separation or a loss. None of these manifestations in your life bother you. Let it make a warrior out of you. Arjuna became a warrior in the midst of a war. In the midst of a war, because he allowed Krishna to be his charioteer. And when we know Sai Krishna is our charioteer, when he's the one staying with us, walking with us, then let us do good, continue to do good, never stop even for a moment of thinking about it, doing it, and talking about it. And in that goodness, eventually there will come a time, believe me, my sisters and brothers, I know many of you experience this, a time will come that you will experience only the best in life. Sai Ram.
What a beautiful, such a simple act of cleaning a vessel, and Swami drove such a beautiful lesson. I remember for the students, he would tell us, when you're cutting the vegetables, imagine you're cutting away your ego. When you're sweeping the room, imagine you're sweeping the Arishad Vargas, the Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, all these, the 6 vices, imagine you're sweeping them to a corner. And he would drive these lessons in these simple, mundane acts. Beautiful story. Brother George, if we can go to you. You've been on several trips to see Swami, both as a group from Greece and even by yourself. Have you had any personal lessons driven into you about devotion or purity?
Yes, I will share an experience which came immediately in my mind when Sister Anu called me and said, would you like to be a member of the panel about devotion? Then immediately this story came into my mind. It takes me back 29 years from now, it was the 71st birthday of Swami. And at that year, a group of young, dedicated, full of enthusiasm devotees from Greece, we had prepared a drama for Swami. I've shared some stories from this drama. Maybe some of you know. I was a member of this group, and these memories have stayed in my heart forever. I will share something from that time. In this drama, it was named Tales of Janaka. There was 3 stories. One with King Janaka was an exemplary king, a karma yogi, and he wanted to know the truth about the self. Somebody to teach him the Atma Jnana. So there are 3 stories, one with Vasista, one with Sukha, and one with Astavakra. These were 3 stories chosen by Swami's discourses. And the second story starts, it is with Sukha. And Sukha is the moment when King Janaka has arrived out after his daily duties. He sits there along with the other disciples, and then Sukha starts his discourse with a poem. You know, Swami all the time starts his discourses singing. So we thought to do the same, and Swami really liked. So we picked up one verse that Swami was singing, and I was the one who was singing that. Not live, because live I had another role. I was not Sukha. Sukha was another side brother, very tall, very handsome, and Swami was praising him. He was dressed so nicely, and he has learned how to pronounce, and you could not see that he is not the one speaking. But everything was recorded, and I was the one who had learned this, and I was singing. So I would like to share this, because this takes us again to the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. At that time I didn't know. I had heard the discourse of Swami, many discourses, we had picked up this. So it goes like this. And actually this is the best definition of bhakta, of the devotee, which is the topic of our discussion. So it goes like this. Anapeksha suchir daksha udasino gatavyataha sarvaramba parityagi yo madbhakta same priyaha. Sarvaramba parityagi yo madbhakta same priyaha. Now I have to explain this. At that time, you know, it was the beginning many years back. After this, Swami was liked very much. He was coming to the rehearsals. He was enjoying, and he was even correcting us some pronunciation. After some years, I started studying more seriously Sanskrit, and then I discovered that this is from the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which Swami has said it is a must for all of us to study, because he gives the fundamental instruction about devotion. And here we speak about devotion. We don't have to discover something new. We have all the scriptures, especially the Bhagavad Gita, that Swami quotes again and again. So, anapeksha. Anapeksha means without desire. So the first quality of the devotee, anapeksha. Suchir. Suchir means Trikaran Sudhi is the same word, suchir, to be pure. You see, as Brother Sundar said, you cannot separate. How can you have devotion without purity? And then purity goes with devotion. So in order to be a devotee, the second qualification there in this verse is pure. You have to be pure. Suchir daksha. And as Lord Jesus also has said, and our dear Dr. Reddy, don't forget all the time to mention this from the Matthew Gospel, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. So the only way to see God is to purify your God. And to see God, you have to be good devotee. And later in this gospel, Lord Jesus says, this is my true word, unless you transform yourselves and become like children, pure like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. So purity is emphasized from all parts, from all ancient scriptures. Then it says daksha, anapeksha suchir daksha. Daksha means good in action, to be all the time active, to be able to do things in the right way. Let's say this is the qualification of a karma yogi, like we said, the King Janaka. But as Brother Alex very appropriately, I think, said in the morning, we have also a very big example of a karma yogi in the person of our dear Dr. Reddy. And then daksha, suchir daksha, udasino. Udasino means to sit aside, not to be attached, to keep a distance from all things. Before, Sri Krishna says you have to be active, but at the same time you have to keep a distance, not to be attached while you do. This is really some art that you learn through the years. You have to act, but without any expectations of the results. So this is the meaning of udasino. Gatavyataha means to leave all worries, to act and not to be worried. This is again a very high state of mind. Though we are engaged in life and life has so many ups and downs, but still our mind should not be worried. Gatavyataha, no worries. And again, with the presence of Swami, this becomes easy. Because Swami says, why fear when I'm here? What is worry? Worry is only a mentally created fear, as Swami says. How we cannot have fear? When we have Swami here, why fear when I'm here? You see how easy? Everything becomes very easy. And last, Gatavyataha, Sarvaramba Parityagi. This is maybe the utmost quality. Tyaga, Parityaga. Sarvaramba, any desires, Parityagi, to renounce all desires. Tyaga is a quality that Swami emphasizes many, many times. And this is, I will quote one more Sanskrit verse, which Swami quotes again and again. Na karmana na prajayatanena tyagena ke amrutatva manasuhu. Only with tyaga, with renunciation, you can reach amrutatvam. That means immortality. And this takes me in an interview. Swami were asking us, what is the way to immortality? You know the answer? Swami was testing like a good teacher. Then we answered, the removal of I answered to Swami, the removal of immorality, Swami, is the way to immortality. Swami was very happy. And then he asked, but what is immorality? Then it was difficult to answer. And Swami very simply said, immorality is the 6 enemies that they were mentioned also in the morning. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madhamacharya, which starts with desire. Again, the most difficult to get rid of is desire, and desire is the root of everything. So, when you have these qualities, yo mat bhakta same priyaha. This bhakta, this devotee who has these qualities are dear to me. This is what Sri Krishna says. And so, because I had, you see, I remember very well, it is very in my heart, why Swami, as Brother Sudar said, and all of us, he has come among us to give us some experiences. Maybe we can read these things in the books, maybe we can read in the Bhagavad Gita, but it is not the same. When you are in his presence and you have the experience, then this experience stays deep in your heart. So I think this is very relevant to our discussion. And I will urge everybody, if we want to know deeply what is devotion, to make a study of this 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and to finish with this sharing of this experience, I would like to repeat this verse. In the beautiful music that Swami has put in all these quotations. Anapeksha suchir daksha udasino gatavyataha sarvaramba parityagi yo madbhakta same priyaha. Om Sai Ram.
I could tell that you went back and revisited that experience. You relived that pilgrimage, that visit to see Swami, and relived that. And if I remember correctly, one of the editions of Eternal Companion, this discourse was featured, how to be dear to the Lord. And who better to tell you that than the Lord himself, and to be able to recite that in the divine presence, truly amazing. So I want to make a change in pace. We've spent some time hearing these two experiences. Briefly in one sentence, and we'll start with you, Vahini. If you're going through a challenging time, what is the one go-to spiritual practice that you lead on? One sentence or a phrase.
Okay, I'm going to do a rapid fire of 3 things that are really important to me. First is Namasmarana. And I remember Swami says, if you fall down a well, you wouldn't just say, help me, help me. You'll say, help me, help me. So I think Namasmarana, calling out to God as loudly as you can. For me, writing letters, and then the surrender prayer, thy will be done, thou think of it.
She got 3 in 1, see? Brother Yerka, if you'd like to take that.
Saina?
Yes. Your go-to spiritual practice in a time of challenge.
Namasmarana first.
Okay.
Then time of challenge. It means if I'm facing a challenge, it means I see a problem. So after Namasmarana, the next practice is to take the thought which is telling me I have a problem, and saying, Swami, please take this problem and take this thought. They're not mine. I don't want to have anything to do with them. I just want to be in your presence and omnipresence. Om Sai Ram.
Very nice. Brother Sundar, do you have one or multiple? Like her, if you can do 3 in 1, that's fine too.
A spiritual practice?
Yes, a go-to practice.
Silence.
Okay. And is the thinking like this too shall pass? Is that the thinking behind that, or?
Silence.
Just silence.
Silence.
All right.
I'll probably share the experience behind it later sometime. But it is, what do you tell one who knows everything in your life? If the omnipresent, omniscient, omnipresent consciousness is your God, your chosen one, in the form of Sai or Krishna or Rama, what do you go and tell him? I'm having a difficult time, help me? Or am I having a difficult time, be with me? In those moments, as with every moment, to feel the presence, you go into silence. And in that silence, there is oneness. In that silence, the voice of God can be heard, in that depths of silence. And therefore, if we do feel a pain, I just go into that silence. I embrace the pain. I go into that silence. Because deep inside that, in the depths of that silence, there is a voice that is so soothing and so calm that it takes away all pain away.
Beautiful. Haven't we all experienced that we sit for darshan, Swami sits there for minutes on end, and Swami is waving his hand, and you feel like your problems are solved. You've handed him a letter, he hasn't said anything, but in silence he communicates, Dakshinamurti, right? Uncle, do you have a go-to spiritual practice in a time of challenge?
Many, but one important thing I do is talk to his picture. I'm a big believer in talking to Swami. He doesn't reply, but I keep talking. But
you think he's not replying?
That's what I do. And when I study something, I look at his picture and I'm trying to explain to myself. I call it a study circle of one. and Swami will be listening. My whisperings are so loud, my wife hears it and said, "Who are you talking to?" And say, "I'm talking to Swami." And that's what I do. When any challenge, I simply look at the photo and say, "Do something." Sai Ram.
But that is prayer, right? Conversation
Yes,
with God.
I talk to Swami, yes.
Yes.
Sai Ram.
Brother George? Looks like some others agree with you. They do the same. I heard some claps.
Maybe I would like to build in the silence. But in the silence, sometimes the mind is very active. And silence should be of the mind, but not just silence. How can we silence the mind? Swami has given us this most powerful mantra, Soham. So in the silence, to watch very deeply our breath and to hear the breath saying Soham, Soham, reminding us our true self, who we really are. We are one with Him. Not the body, not the mind, not the senses, not all these worries. In the silence, to realize the unity with Him, because this is the ultimate goal. And when you reach the ultimate goal, is unity with Him, then you have everything. You have purity, you have devotion, you have everything. The ultimate goal, I think, of, as we have said many times also, of this Sai international organization that Swami himself has founded and he's given his divine name, is just one, self-realization. And this is the most powerful tool, in the silence, to hear the breath all the time, repeating Soham, Soham. I am He, I am He. I am Shiva, I am Shiva. Shivoham, Shivoham. Sai Ram.
Thank you, Brother George. You know, in this fast-paced life, you often hear people of all ages say, "Well, I don't have the time to set aside 20 minutes to do this prayer or to do this." What would your answer be to that? Since you have the mic, we can start with you. What would your response be?
No, you have time. We have time. This is just exclusion. Why should we have time for all other things and we don't have time for the most important thing? No, it is a matter of priority in life. If you realize what is come first, then you have time. You have all the time. Our life should be dedicated for this goal. But it is only the problem that we have put in mistakenly other priorities and we think that they are more important. If we realize what is really important in our life, then we have time. We have time. So this is just an excuse. Sairam.
Now, all of you have served in various roles. I'm sure even leading up to this conference, you had back-to-back calls, even when I was trying to reach out to you. How do you still continue to lean on your faith? I think in the discourse, Ramakarya, you do Rama's work, but are you also remembering to say his name? Do you still find time to do that? Like leading up to an event like this. Vahini, we could start with you. I'm sure you were on, every time I tried to reach you, you were like, this is my 6th call for the day. What would you like to say?
Thank you, Sister Anu. So it's very interesting, especially I think from a young adult perspective, we have a lot going on. So it's not only that we were planning for a conference or these grand celebrations, but a lot of us are studying, we're working, some are mothers, some actually are taking care of elderly parents and also have other challenges in life. So it's very important to stay grounded in your sadhana, in your devotion to God. The young adults had a challenge, a 100-day sadhana leading up to the 100th birthday. So we're almost culminating that on Sunday. So we try to make it within everything that we do, that we always include Swami. I think Brother Sundar said it very nicely, and he said we're not separate from God. So everything that we do is God's work. We shouldn't separate our tasks. So work is worship, and Swami talks about work, worship, and wisdom. And this is what we're talking about, bhakti. So it's very important that everything we do, we offer to God. I think Uncle George also mentioned that. So there's always time, as Uncle George mentioned. Always put God first. I think that's been a winning success for me and many other young adults, And Brother Sundar also said, do everything with the best of your ability. Do it as if you're offering it to God. And you'll see that the time opens up, the tasks get divided, and you're able to conquer and have success. I think another thing is satsang, good company. So seeing God in the next person, I think a secret to our success is having a team. And having that like-minded people and individuals. We're always talking about Swami. I would call Sister Shruti for a planning meeting, and we'd spend an hour on satsang talking about Swami and his teachings, and then only we'll talk about 10 minutes of the work. Even with Dr. Reddy and the seniors, we always start with satsang. We hear about stories of Swami. So this is how we're always in touch with Swami and his teachings. Even our media, when we review it, it's all the quotes of Swami from his discourses. So there's always time and bringing Swami into everything that we're doing, making it very practical, so it's not separate from everyday activities.
So I'm picking up that this itself is a sadhana. Yes. This itself is a sadhana. Would you agree, Brother Yerka?
Yes, sure.
Absolutely. He's like, I can't say anything else. All right. We talked about challenges a little bit. Can you, Brother Yerka, you have the mic, can you think of a situation where you experienced a challenge and how you may have applied devotion and purity to overcome that challenge?
Yes. So now we know everything about devotion and purity from the wise brothers. So I'm going to take a few minutes to share with you an incident showing what lack of devotion looks like from my personal life. This is 10, 15 years ago. I was doing contracting work, meaning I go to a company, do a contract for them for a year or two, then it's over, and then I look for another contract. And this time, I just finished a contract, I started looking for a new one. And I met, some company was interested, we met, we had an interview, and they were very interested. They really liked me. And they said, okay, we're going to work with you. I said, okay, I'm interested. The way this works is that they need to do the budgeting and some internal things, and once this is in place, they call me and we sign a contract and we go. So I said, okay, take your time. Another call came, and I'm going to cut this short, but within 2 weeks, I had 4 companies who were very excited about having me, and things were looking good. So I had a plan. All these people are interested. I'm going to take all 4 offers, put them on the table, analyze which one is best for me, and that one I'm going to choose. So I had a plan, and I waited for them to come and bring forward the offers. But 4 weeks went and nothing happened. Nobody's calling. And I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm not calling them. They're interested in me, not me in them. Another 2 weeks passed, so I'm thinking, okay, I'll give them a call. So I call all 4 of them, and I started to suspect something was a little bit off, because all of them said, oh, yes, we are very, very, very interested. Please don't go to any other contract, work for us. Just give us a few more time. We need you. We need a little bit more time to finalize our things, and then we'll go ahead. And I called 4 of them, and all 4 of them gave me the same story. They didn't even pretend to make variation. They just gave me exactly the same story. This went on for about almost 3 months. I called them every 4 weeks. They would tell me the same story about wanting me not to go anywhere. But the situation has changed. Okay, this has been 4 months since I was without a contract, and I knew maybe I have a month or 2, and then my funds are going to start drying up very fast. So it was not too comfortable. I didn't feel as important as I did when originally I had everybody interested in me. But still, I didn't know what to do. So I just waited 2 more weeks. I didn't have a comfort of another 4 weeks, so I just waited another 2 weeks. And I called them all, and they just gave me the same story. Very, very, very interested, just wait.
During this time, did you call on Swami? Did you think to?
No, I'm coming to that. Eventually, when I did my math and I knew I'm going to run out of the funds and things are starting to look not so great, eventually you were a little bit faster to come to realization that it was time to call on to Swami, but eventually it came also to me. So I came to Swami, I came to a picture, and I explained everything. And I said, Swami, I had a plan. I have a new plan now. You choose where you want me to go. First person who calls me, no questions. I'm not looking at the contract. I'm not looking at the conditions. The first call I get, I go there and sign. And that was it. Also, no reply from the picture. I went to bed, slept. My country, the office hours start at 9. Sometimes people who are very eager, they call you 8:45, but generally people don't call you before 9. Next morning, I got a call at 7:30 in the morning. They're calling me and say, sir, we're ready, but we need to sign before 9 because then we go into a meeting and we need to confirm we have someone for this work. So I said, okay, I'm available. I drove over, signed it before 9. I really did not look. They said, please read through. No need. Just show me where to sign. I signed the contract. We shook hands. I walked out of the office. I got another call. Before 9, all 4, the 3 remaining companies called me and said, we're ready. When can you start? So I guess the takeaway is that it's fine. We can make a plan. It's all right. He can wait. But we can make our lives so much easier by just dedicating it to Him, asking Him to guide us and to lead us. And just leave it with Him. Sai-Ram.
It's like you let go and you let God. So I've heard where it says you let go and you let God. When you let go, God comes into the picture. Uncle, when we were talking, Uncle Ashok, you had shared that you had a time when, was it a job situation, you had a challenge, and if you want to share that experience.
Sai-Ram. This happened in 1994. We used to live in San Diego at that time, and I used to work for a large pharmaceutical company. And I lost my job because of corporate restructuring. And that lasted for 15 months. So this story has support structure Swami provided for us, our devotional practices, and divine grace, what I call as how kind and compassionate Swami was right through these 15 months. I had 18 interviews in 15 months. 3 companies made me offer, and the job didn't turn out. There was some reason or other. I would get the offer letter, and then the next day the call would come and say, we lost funding. Sorry, we can't accommodate you. We eliminated the job. So what kept me going was this attending interviews. Every month, I would have 1 or 2 interviews, and that kept me focused. The second thing I want to talk to you is the structure Swami had provided. All of you, the Sai family. The Sai family came to our help. They would ask every week, are you doing fine? Do you need anything? I know what their question meant. Do you know anything? And interestingly, Swami provided the resources. The company which laid me off extended the severance pay. They even paid my India travel. After I had left the company, they paid for it. It's all Swami, nothing else here. So, personal practices, devotional practices, since we are talking about devotion, we would do chanting, 108 names, do bhajans at home. I was attending 2 centers, but I was member of 1 center only, I and my wife and I. And we would have bhajans on Monday, bhajans on Wednesdays, bhajans on Thursdays, and seva projects. This kept me busy, made me forget the trouble and the challenge of not having a regular paycheck. Divine grace, support structure, first thing. That's the second, more important than that, my wife. She supported right through the whole process, and she was smart enough to save money for us. She had saved, someday this may happen so that we can get through. So it started there through my wife, then the support structure, and the interviews to keep me busy. What it gave me was peace of mind and balance. And I used to continue with my practice of having conversations with him regularly. And some of them were rough. He kept smiling. Rough was me.
The one-way conversation.
Yes, one way. I'm just going on and on. Do something about this. It's now 14 months, now 15 months. Everything suddenly changed. This is what I call as when Swami decides when the time is right, it will happen. My resume went to the company in Seattle. Within 1 week, I was hired. Just like that, it was over. I worked for that company for 29 years and retired this January. And thank you, Saira. One thing I want to share here is before I conclude is the last 10 years of my job, I used to help people. I didn't work in the lab, but I was more like a consultant in the company, and I loved it. And I was reading Swami after you asked me, go and be on the panel. And one thing Swami said recently we studied is, if you have knowledge, it's of no avail to you if you don't share it. You have to share what you know. Otherwise, it's worthless knowledge. And I said, oh, Swami, for the last 10 years, you guided me for that. I loved it because people would call me, I would answer questions. So it's a happy ending. So I wanted to share with you is devotion saved us, literally saved us from drowning. And I'm eternally grateful to Swami for being there right through the process and taking us through that. Sai Ram.
That's a story with a happy ending. A story with a happy ending. Sister Vahini, when we spoke a few months ago for a retreat in our region, you had shared a couple of beautiful stories about the Vibhuti, the power of Vibhuti, and you also mentioned earlier that you write letters to Swami. Can you share a couple of those stories? I'm sure it might help the other young adults that are listening. And that too, if I recall, was a challenging situation during COVID, if you want to share.
So it's a 2-part story, but I'll go quickly through it. In 2021, we were in the peak of COVID, and I actually contracted COVID, the Delta variant. So it really hit me quite hard. For a month, I was away from work and, struggled to breathe. But of course, luckily, we were hearing a lot of people going onto the ventilator. But I was quite fine. I stayed at home and worked through it. The doctor would actually deliver the medicines to my place. I was in Cape Town away from family, so I moved there to study and work. So it was quite challenging without family, and I was all alone. And I think Namasmarana, moving back to that, is that Gayatri chanting was the only thing that got me through it and actually helped me keep the faith during that time, being, isolated from the world and from society and not having family around and going through this challenging time. So I would always play Swami's Gayatri in his voice, and day and night. It was on my laptop on repeat. And I think that's what got me through that period of my life. So I think my key takeaway for everyone is just hold on to Swami's feet, hold on to his divine name, and he will take you through any storm in life. And that's number one. Number two is that I love writing letters to Swami. It's my go-to. And I'm very blessed in the sense, and maybe it's perhaps I need the physical sign, but every time I place a letter at my shrine, Swami materializes a little bit of vibhuti on it. And for me, it's not that he's accepted it or given me the go-ahead on a decision, but it's just his divine assurance that I'm with you. So whether the outcome is good or bad, I know Swami is with me. So I was heading back to Cape Town for work in the peak of COVID, and I wrote a letter to Swami to say, protect me, protect my family, make sure the travels are safe, etc. And this particular time, he didn't bless it. Normally, he blesses it within an hour or two. So I was very upset. I went to bed, checked in the morning, it still wasn't blessed. On the way out, my mom calls out from the house. As I was going down the driveway, she says, Swami's blessed the letter. So I quickly put it in a silver pouch, put it into the big bag that I had, and then we were off to the airport. So I go to the airport, to the counter to weigh my bag and check in the luggage, and the domestic allowance is 20 kgs. And so the lady says at the counter, ma'am, your bag is weighing 21 kgs. Can you please reshuffle? So I took out a book and I took out a jacket or some piece of clothing, and I put the bag back onto the scale, and she says, ma'am, it's gone to 22. Can you reshift? So I was okay. So I was a bit confused. In the moment, I was flustered as well because I'm always late to everything. So I was like, okay, this is not happening to me. So I put the book and the jacket back into the bag out of frustration, pulled out the silver pouch with Swami's letter, the vibhuti, put that into my laptop bag. And she says, ma'am, it's 19 point something, and you're good to go. And so I get onto the flight, and I'm just sitting there thinking of everything that has transpired, and I'm thinking, what was this? It was just a small pouch, and I realized the power and the protection of vibhuti and Swami just wanting me to have that on my person. And I think Sister Madhuri mentioned it as well. It's these synchronicities or Swami signs that just happen in life. And for me, vibhuti has always protected me. Whenever I'm sick, whenever I have troubles, that's my go-to. And even the vibhuti mantram is about liberation, and that's our goal, to realize that inherent divinity. So for me, vibhuti is very potent in my life.
Beautiful story. Beautiful miracle. Have you shared this with the young adults before?
I've shared it a few times.
Yeah, beautiful story. We probably have another 5 minutes to wrap up. Any closing thoughts, something that you'd like to share, leave everybody with? Again, we are only planting seeds. We are not giving solutions. Though you are all subject matters, I definitely am not. Any other parting thoughts that you would like to leave the audience with? We can begin with anyone. Yes, Uncle Ashok? Just briefly.
Briefly. I think Brother Sundarayar touched upon this. These are not separate topics. When I started studying Swami for this, a picture emerged in my mind. It is circular in nature. You put anywhere devotion, at the other end you put purity, they go in circles. Interestingly, how do we break into a circle? There is no starting point or an ending point. That's when Swami's teachings come in handy. Following his injunctions, doing namasmarana, or going to center, or being part of the devotional program or seva will help us break into that. Very quickly, Swami's favorite topic, gopis of Vrindavan. They are the exemplars of devotion. But how did they get there? That's what Swami talks about. In their previous lives, during time of Rama, they had achieved perfection in purity, it seems. They had achieved perfection in purity. Therefore, when they were born along with Krishna, they were exemplars of devotion. What's the net of all this devotion and purity? An imprint of Lord has to be on your heart. It will not be there if the heart is not pure. Sai Ram.
Beautiful. So they're complementary to each other, purity and devotion. Brother Yerka, any closing remarks from you?
Love all, serve all.
Simple yet very powerful and potent. Thank you. Brother George?
Sai Ram, thank you for giving us the opportunity to share these thoughts. And what else to say? Just a prayer to Swami to give us devotion, because pure devotion has purity also there. This is He can give. And in these 108 names that recently this year, and there is a series of studies guides on these names, We have one name, it says, Om Sri Sai Sadhu Manasa Parisodakaya Namaha. So we pray to Swami, who is the one who purifies the mind of the sadhaka. He is the one. And then another name, it says, Om Sri Sai Bhakti Jnana Pradaya Namaha. He is the one who gives bhakti and jnana. So we know everything, but we are not have yet the experience. The experience will come only through His grace. We have to pray for this experience. And the realization of what we are now is just in the mind to come in the heart. Om Sai Ram.
I love that you said pray for that experience instead of saying why isn't it happening. Pray for that experience. Brother Sathya.
Once again, thank you all for giving me and my brothers and Sister Vahini for this opportunity. Thank you, Anu, for taking trouble to get all of this in place. The lesson I take home every day is what I began with. Never stop the pursuit of excellence in whatever you do. Try to be better. The next day when you get up, ask yourself, how can I be better? And the reason I adopted this was every sports meet, Swami will call us 2 months before and he'd say, "Ee time kottaga em chestaru? What are you going to offer something new? It shouldn't be dangerous. It shouldn't be too simple. It should be exciting and entertaining." So he pushed us to constantly improve ourselves and make every act as an offering. So Bhangra dance became an offering, basketball became an offering, cricket matches became an offering. So every part of our life was an offering to Swami. And therefore I think that when we focus on every task that we have, we dedicate everything we have, and we pursue excellence, making it better every day, then we get closer and closer to the divine. There is absolutely no doubt about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Sundar, for sharing that. I think more than what I can give as a takeaway is what I've learned as well from my fellow panelists and from you, Sis Anu. But 3 things around purity is purity, patience, perseverance. And I think those 3 Ps have been the journey of my own personal experience. And just, you know, as young adults, or even just people in general, instant gratification is definitely a thing for us. And just to have patience and to understand and to have faith in Swami's divine timing. And perseverance is, this too shall pass. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says to accept victory and defeat in the same light, and that equanimity. So that patience, that perseverance, that purity and everything. And then the last thing that I learned from my fellow panelists and from Brother Sundar is Swami was very childlike, so always be happy. Spirituality shouldn't be a burden or something serious. Have fun. You know, make it fun, make it a part of your life. You said that even chopping vegetables, or even listening to music, Bhangra dancing, devoted to Swami, have fun through it and make it a part of life, and be happy. Swami always told us to be happy. So that's just one key takeaway.
Those were some great parting thoughts. What I would encourage the audience is, this is not just a few minutes of taking some takeaways. You know, when you're at lunch, go to these panelists and, you know, follow up with questions. Learn more, learn from each other, right? It doesn't end here. We don't come here, get rejuvenated. Oh, you feel good. I have a warm and fuzzy for those 3 days. You can't forget that. You have to carry that with you. And that's by continuing this satsang when you're at lunch after bhajans instead of talking to each other. So that's my challenge to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the panelists. Wonderful. And you've been a wonderful audience. Have a great evening. I think we are going to bhajans after. I'll turn it over to the MCs. Thank you all.
हे निराकारी अल्लाह, हे अवतारी प्रभु राम।
निराकारी अल्लाह, हे अवतारी प्रभु राम।
हे निराकारी अल्लाह, हे अवतारी प्रभु राम।
निराकारी अल्लाह, हे अवतारी प्रभु राम।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
हे निराकारी अल्लाह, हे अवतारी प्रभु राम।
निराकारी अल्लाह, हे अवतारी प्रभु राम।
नानक यीशु बुद्ध महावीर।
नानक यीशु बुद्ध महावीर।
नानक यीशु बुद्ध महावीर।
नानक यीशु बुद्ध महावीर।
सब है साई भगवान।
सब है साई भगवान।
सब है साई भगवान।
सब है साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
हे निराकारी अल्लाह, हे अवतारी प्रभु राम।
निराकारी अल्लाह, हे अवतारी प्रभु राम।
नानक यीशु बुद्ध महावीर।
नानक यीशु बुद्ध महावीर।
सब है साई भगवान।
सब है साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
जन्म जन्म मेरे साथ रहो तुम सत्य साई भगवान।
हे निराकारी अल्लाह, हे अवतारी प्रभु राम।
घनन घनन घंटा बाजे पायलिया।
घनन घनन घंटा
बाजे पायलिया। घनन घनन घंटा बाजे पायलिया।
घनन घंटा बाजे पायलिया।
धिमित धिमित धिम धिम नाचे साई शिवा। 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 घनन घनन घंटा बाजे पायलिया। घनन घनन घंटा बाजे पायलिया। मृदंग वीणा ढमरू बाजे। मृदंग वीणा ढमरू बाजे। मृदंग वीणा ढमरू बाजे। मृदंग वीणा बाजे पायलिया धिमित धिमित धिम धिम नाचे साई शिवाय घनन घनन घंटा बाजे पायलिया मृदंग वीणा डमरू बाजे आंडव नाचे घुंघरू बाजे नाचे रे नटराजा नाचे रे शिवराजा नाचे रे शिवराजा नाचे रे शिवराजा नाचे रे नटराजा नाचे रे साई बोला नाचे रे साई बोला घनन घंटा बाजे पायलिया
Krishna mi Sathya Sai, eres Sai Krishna la paz y el amor. Krishna mi Sathya Sai, eres Sai Krishna la paz y el amor. Krishna mi Sathya Sai, eres Sai Krishna la paz y el amor. Krishna mi Sathya Sai, eres Sai Krishna la paz y el amor. Danzas ahora en mi corazón, te ruego Sai Krishna, me llenes de amor. Danzas ahora en mi corazón, te ruego Sai Krishna, me llenes de amor. Danzas ahora en mi corazón, te ruego Sai Krishna, me llenes de amor. Danzas ahora en mi corazón, te ruego Sai Krishna, me llenes de amor. Krishna, Krishna, oh dulce canción. Krishna, Krishna, del corazón. Krishna, Krishna, oh dulce canción. Krishna, Krishna, del corazón. Krishna, Krishna, oh dulce canción. Krishna, Krishna, del corazón. Krishna, Krishna, oh dulce canción. Krishna, Krishna, del corazón. Krishna mi Sathya Sai, eres Sai Krishna la paz y el amor. Krishna mi Sathya Sai, eres Sai Krishna la paz y el amor. Danzas ahora en mi corazón, te ruego Sai Krishna, me llenes de amor. Danzas ahora en mi corazón, te ruego Sai Krishna, me llenes de amor. Krishna, Krishna, oh dulce canción. Krishna, Krishna, del corazón. Krishna, Krishna, oh dulce canción. Krishna, Krishna, del corazón. Krishna, Krishna, oh dulce canción. Krishna, Krishna,
corazón. Krishna, Krishna del corazón. Krishna ni Sathya Sai. Eres Sai Krishna, la paz, el amor.
Sai Ram, hear my call to you. Sai Ram, hear my call.
Sai Ram, hear my call to you. Sai Ram, hear my call.
Sai Ram, hear my call to you. Sai Ram, hear my call.
Sai Ram, hear my call to you. Sai Ram, hear my call.
Sai Ram, I know you must hear my call.
Sai Ram, I know you must hear my call.
Sai Ram, I know you must hear my call.
Sai Ram, I know you must hear my call.
Sai Ram, hear my call to you. Sai Ram, hear my call.
Sai Ram, hear my call to you. Sai Ram, hear my call.
In my heart is a burning yearning for you.
In my heart is a burning yearning for you.
In my heart is a burning yearning for you.
In my heart is a burning yearning for you.
I'm waiting, I'm praying, I'm calling to 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 you.
Sai Ram, hear my call to you. Sai Ram, hear my call.
Sai Ram, hear my call to you. Sai Ram, hear my call.
Sai Ram, I know you must hear my call.
Sai Ram, I know you must hear my call.
In my heart is a burning yearning for you.
In my heart is a burning yearning for you.
I'm waiting, I'm praying, I'm calling to 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 you.
Sai Ram, hear my call to you. Sai Ram, hear my call.
सुंदर सुंदर नाचे सुंदर साई गणेशा सुंदर सुंदर नाचे सुंदर साई गणेशा सुंदर सुंदर नाचे सुंदर साई गणेशा सुंदर सुंदर नाचे सुंदर मन मंदिर में मेरे साईं राम।
नाचे नाचे मन मंदिर में मेरे साईं राम।
नाचे नाचे मन मंदिर में मेरे साईं राम।
नाचे रे साईं सुंदर श्याम।
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 सुंदर सुंदर नाचे सुंदर साईं घनश्याम।
सुंदर सुंदर नाचे सुंदर साईं घनश्याम।
नाचे रे साईं सुंदर श्याम।
नाचे रे साईं सुंदर श्याम।
रुमक झुमक झुमक घुंघरू बाजे नाचे घनश्याम।
झुमक 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 घुंघरू बाजे नाचे घनश्याम।
नाचे नटवर साईं सुंदर मेरे साईं राम।
नाचे नटवर साईं सुंदर मेरे साईं राम।
नाचे नाचे मन मंदिर में मेरे साईं राम।
नाचे नाचे मन मंदिर में मेरे साईं राम।
नाचे रे साईं सुंदर श्याम।
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 सुंदर सुंदर नाचे सुंदर साईं घनश्याम।
ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे। भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते। आश्रित कल्पलतीका आश्रित कल्पलतीका आपद बांधवा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। मात पिता गुरुदैवमुपरियन्तयुनीवे स्वामी मरियन्तयुनीवे। नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्रशयना। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा। मंगल आरती अंगको मंगल आरती अंगको मंगल गिरिधारी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा। नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा। नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण। ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा। शांति शांति शांति। समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की
जय।